Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Comedian Michael Rapaport cracks up the DC Improv this Thursday through Saturday in Washington, D.C. We spoke about his comedy routine and his favorite film and TV roles, from True Romance to Friends to Boston Public. Hey, Michael Rapaport, thanks so much for joining us on WTOP.
Thanks for having me, my man.
All right, we're here talking because you're coming to the legendary DC Improv in Washington, D.C. on April 28th through the 30th. How I know you're a New York guy through and through, but how big of a spot is it? And when you see DC on the calendar, that spot's legendary.
I love that club. I performed there once before. I love DC. I love performing in DC. I have carved out unintentionally a spot for being, a political voice. And last time I was in DC performing, I brought it, and the crowd loved it. And I plan on, being as disruptive and as outspoken and as honest as I possibly can, performing back at the Improv in DC on the 28th, 29th, and 30th of April. I love the city. I love it's a cool East Coast city. I'm never there long enough, but when I'm there, I always really enjoy it and appreciate the city and the people.
Yeah, and what we love about you, you're a perfect fit to come in and talk politics and everything, because you don't pull any punches, man. You just you come hard with it. We've seen you go viral lately with some of your rants about COVID, people not getting shots, and in some of the conflicting mandates. Do you tackle COVID in this insane pandemic life? Do you tackle that in your stand-up gigs like the Improv?
Yeah, I go after COVID. I talk about COVID. I talk about the mandates, I talk about this president. I talk about the last president. I try to, I don't have any allegiance to any of these people. I think they're all, disappointing. I think they're all, it's part of the job to let people down, whether you voted for them or not. And I hit them hard, and I hit them high and I hit them low. But I love doing live shows. I love performing, doing stand up. I'm happy to be back, on the road. And like I said, the last time I performed at the Improv in DC, it was awesome, and I expect nothing less this time.
That's awesome. Now, you love performing in DC, but like we mentioned, you were born in New York in 1970. Is it true both your parents worked in radio, so they can probably relate to my racket?
Yeah, they both worked in radio. They behind the scenes, Wikipedia seems to make up things. But yeah, they worked on a radio station in New York City, and I grew up when they were playing vinyl on the record. On the record players, and so it's definitely some place that I'm comfortable with. And I have a lot of respect for DJs and personalities on the radio because I was around them as a kid.
Right, which probably helps your podcasting and everything else, and your stage presence and everything. But obviously, so you moved to LA. You moved to LA to do your stand-up comedy career and everything. And man, that just opened the door to so many film, TV roles, opportunities that we all got to know and love you from. Do you mind rapid firing if I throw something out? Just give me a quick thought, like True Romance.
True Romance was as exciting for me to do it as it was for people to watch it and continue to watch it. It was a great cast, written by Quentin Tarantino, directed by the late, great Tony Scott, Christian Slater. And it was an honor to be in that film. And like I said, I was as happy to be in it as people have enjoyed the film for almost 30 years now.
All right, Higher Learning with John Singleton. Rest in peace.
Awesome film. John Singleton was a great director, breakthrough film director. Got to work with Ice Cube before he was sort of, the friendly Ice Cube that we see now. The great Academy Award winner Regina King, and it was a pleasure making Higher Learning.
Bamboozled with Spike.
I love that film, Bamboozled. I feel like more people need to see it. Spike Lee, again, is another filmmaker who's, iconic and an iconic voice and a breakthrough personality and filmmaker. And it was a dope time working on that little movie, Bamboozled.
And, of course, playing Phoebe's boyfriend in Friends. I mean, you're part of an all-timer show, man.
Working on Friends is kind of like, working on the Brady Bunch for my generation. The show never goes away. People love it. People talk to me about Friends every day, and I'm happy that I got to do it. The cast was dope. They were probably making about $600,000 a week, so everybody was in a great mood. And I'm happy to be a part of such an iconic institution of television.
Yeah, that'll put you in a good mood, man. All right, Boston Public. We loved you in that.
Yeah, I like doing Boston Public. I wish it was on the air longer than it was. I think it was a little bit ahead of its time, but I really had fun working on that show.
All right, only time for a couple more. 6 Day with Arnold. That must have been like a dream come true to be on there with the Terminator.
Of course, working with Arnold Schwarzenegger is always going to be, something you have to pinch yourself and be like, yo, this is crazy, because everybody, loves Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's been in so many movies for so many decades now. He's so unique. He's so one of a kind, and his story and all his films and his catchphrases and I'll be back and everything like that. It was exciting, as you can imagine.
And then, of course, in Hitch, rom-com with Will Smith, who might finally win his Oscar this year.
Yeah, he's really good in the Venus Williams film, The King Richard. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Will Smith. It was cool working with him. I've known him for a good amount of time. Huge success, that movie Hitch, and I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Of course. Well, there's so many others we could obviously talk to you about, from The Heat to Sully with Tom Hanks. I mean, there's so many. But before we bow out, I want to talk to you about some of the stuff you've directed really quick. I know you did a Tribe Called Quest documentary, and you also did an ESPN 30 for 30 on, the New York Knicks winning the title back in the 70s. Like, how cool is it that not only, you get to be in front of the camera and stand-up gigs and stuff, but when you get behind the camera to chronicle this great music or the sports stories, like, how rewarding is that for you?
Very rewarding. I loved making the Tribe doc. It was something that I put everything into. I'm proud of it. I love that group. I love hip hop, and the film is available. If you still want to see the Tribe doc, it's on. I think it's on Hulu now. It's Beat Rhymes in Life. All about the group of Tribe Called Quest, and doing the 30 for 30 on my sorry Knicks, who continue to disappoint and disgruntle and, break the hearts of basketball fans was fun. I wish they would get over the hoop, the hump. But, they continue to disappoint, but making it 30 for 30 was excellent.
Awesome. Well, I know we're in this tight window here, and I appreciate having to go through. I'm sure you get asked about the same stuff a lot. What stuff when you're on these like calling tree things? Which stuff do you like? Gosh, and he's asking me that again. Or which stuff are you like? Why do they never ask me about that in this short 8 minutes? Why don't they never ask me this?
To be honest with you, I'll be honest with you. I don't. If there was nothing to talk about after being in this business for 30 years, I'd have bigger fish to fry. I'm a fan of actors. I'm a fan of comedians. And if I was, doing an interview, I would ask the same things. It's an honor to be able to do what I do after all these years. So there's no question that are redundant or that I haven't, been asked. But I am truly fortunate to have things that people are curious about. That's how I look at it.
Well, we're curious to see you down at the DC Improv on April 28th through the 30th. Michael Rapaport, thanks so much for taking the time for us. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it, my man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us on Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Remember to hit the subscribe button and give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time. I wanted to take a second to tell you about an app I really enjoy. Living in the DC area is great, and Podcast DC gathers all of the local shows that I like all in one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast DC is the new local app with hundreds of DC area podcasts to choose from. I can earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts I love instantly. Available in the App Store or in Google Play, listen local with Podcast DC.